noticed a lot of the guys that came to listen to me talk told me as they were leaving that they were going to miss their nap, so they left. Anyway, it is a great time to be here. If you remember back years ago, there was a TV show called Point Counterpoint with James Kilpatrick and Jenna Alexander. And I kind of feel like I'm the counterpoint to Roger. I moved here in 1968 on the ski patrol. My wife came here in 58 as a weekend visitor from Idaho Falls. And started powder in 1971. And now to date, powder, according to the statistics, has been seen by 500 million impressions, which is kind of fun. It's doing really, really well. But the reason I'm up here is that in my time doing business, I was able to ski in 110 different ski resorts around the world. And 2.5 years ago, when my wife retired, we visited 40 towns from Key West, Florida to Tofino, Vancouver Island to figure out which town was the best town to retire in. Okay, so now's the counterpoint. We've had a timeshare in Whistler since '84. I skied Whistler the very first month it opened in '65. Whistler had 37,000 skiers on the mountain 2 days after Christmas. This last Christmas, for the scariest ski experience in the entire world. They have sold 1 million mountain bike tickets for the summer. Okay? Bend is where we took our family from Seattle for our spring trip because we could play tennis and ski because Bend and the mountain are separate. 20,000 people a day are coming into Bend in the summer. Okay? Last Thanksgiving, I skied Mammoth, and it took 1 hour to go from the bottom village to the top village. 1 hour. I might as well have been on I-5 under the convention center in Seattle. Okay? Squaw Valley, this last year, 1 hour and 10-minute wait line. My friends in Jackson said, I'm done. Last week, I'm done. It's too crowded. Okay? I had people in this town July 15th saying, can you do a favor for this town? And I said, sure. They said, go down to Timmerman Hill and put the gate down and don't let another car in until one leaves. Okay? So this is what we have. The Wood River Valley is an entire elementary school, and we all want to be on recess. That's the culture of this town. Okay? 10 years ago, I produced a zip line in Seahawks Stadium. And had 2,000 people ride that zip line during the weekend. We had 3 lines. The producer, the guy that actually assembled it, said it was the highest traffic zip line in the entire world. He's built them all over the world. So I said, oh man, this was so much fun. So I sent to Tim Silva an amazing design of a zip line from the top of Dollar over to the adjacent hill and then down across the lake, landing in the sand. And I said, Tim, this was 2010. Tim, this is something we can put on a billboard down on the freeway at Twin Falls saying, take a left for the world's best zip line. Okay? So I went all the way up the top at St. Clair Oil, and back then zip lines were sketchy, insurance-wise. And St. Clair said, no, we're not going to do that. And so I currently have $50,000 worth of zip line stuff in storage. So about a couple weeks ago, Tim and I and a bunch of us were sitting around talking, and we were talking about the new Mammoth Mountain amazing zip line. And Tim says to me, Jake, I know where there's some cable behind the maintenance shack. If you meet me tonight, we'll install it for tomorrow. Then I did some research. Did you know that 90% of all tourism is the bottom feeder of tourism, and that is teacup rides. That is Ferris wheels. That is roller coasters. That is state fairs with cotton candy. When the eclipse was going on last year, I talked to people from Nebraska, Arkansas, Florida, and they said, what's there to do here? And I said, oh my goodness, there's so much to do. Adams Gulch is phenomenal. Harriman Trail is so great for biking. Bigwood for fly fishing. Sean and Ginger are at the South Fork of the Payette. It's the best. And then they said, but Jake, what's there to do? We go to Branson, Missouri, and we jump on the paddle boat. And we go on the Ferris wheel. And we go to the casino. I would rather have, and I've changed my whole, I don't want a zip line here. I don't want a zip line in this. I'd rather have a guide taking 10 people up to Pioneer Cabin at 9 o'clock every day, serving them lunch and giving them walking sticks, and experiencing and talking about the history and the flora and the fauna and the geology. I'd rather have a guide taking people down the Harriman Trail, serving them lunch halfway down, and basically showing them how gorgeous that valley is. I'd even like to have, and a lot of people push back on me on this, I would love to have a guide put me in an unflippable boat, unflippable kayak, to go from Roy Park to St. Luke's. Because when I go to Durango and I'm in the Animas River right through town, it is a thrill. But, they say, that's kind of dangerous. So we're a go-do type of place. That's what we are. We're on recess and work. That's why this town is set up for telecommuting and remote working. I've interviewed 55 people for this talk. And I am so impressed with all of you in terms of your brightness, your energy, your world travel, your fitness level. My wife gives me 1 hour to buy a bottle of milk at the store because I bump into so many people. Did you know that the American Psychiatric Association last week said that the average number of friends that Americans have are 2? And that's down from 4 20 years ago because of devices? This town is community. This town is alive. In the 55 discussions I had, everybody said the reason that they are here is because of the people. That was number one. Number one. Okay? So I would only do one thing that I've been doing a little bit of work on in regard to helping the economic development of the actual business people. Because the people from Smith and Scott told me to forget about 50, 100, 200, 500 Boeing, Microsoft, Google coming here. Because transportation and finding the personnel to work is too hard. But one thing that I will suggest that we work on, and that is an air club that does the milk run to Boise from Haley. And basically, on a very inexpensive way, you can jump on that milk run. I've talked to a couple of charters, and they're really excited about that, having 300 to 400, 500 people part of that milk run, making it very inexpensive. The other thing I would like to ask, and that is this, is business economic development part of that is avoiding a downturn? Because of all the people I asked to say, what was the summer like on a scale of 1 to 10? I can't tell you how many people that said 8. And I said, why wasn't it a 10? And they said, because of one person. Does anyone know who that one person is that caused a 10 down to an 8? Anybody? A stupid, idiotic imbecile that started a fire. It went from a 10 to an 8. And they told me. They said it would have been a 10 if we hadn't had that smoke. So Roger talked about signage. I put up a sign. And that sign on every single canyon would say, smoke kills business. And it might be your business that gets killed. Because we have to avoid that. Because it went from a 10 to an 8 because of one guy. So that's just for next summer to work on. I came here to talk about the research that I did, traveling around. We want to avoid that Whistler. I consulted to the town of Leavenworth for many years. Leavenworth is the most successful tourist town you will ever find. They do 26 festivals a year, every other week, and the locals can't get to town from Thursday at 2 to Sunday at 5. Okay? I set up webcams that went right into the TV stations in Seattle so that the weather guys could go, let's go live to Leavenworth, and I did that. Do we want that? So my message here is we have to be tactical. We have to be tactical because we're in control here. And I'm going to give you 5 things and then get off the stage for a she-ro of mine, Rebecca. I was in this room 2 weeks ago with the Jazz Festival, volunteer. So I went up to the owners of the Jazz Festival and said, wow, who handles your marketing? And they said, oh, my dad gave me this business. We don't know anything about marketing. Really? Well, what do you gross in this thing? Oh, 400,000. What other jobs do you do during the year? Oh no, we quit our jobs just to do this. Where do you live? Battleground, Washington. And get this, you live in Battleground, Washington, you're in the morning and you're having coffee and you say, where are you going today, honey? And, oh, we're going into battle. It's a stupid name for a town. Anyway, so here's the deal. All that money is going to Battleground. We need organic events here. And I've got 5. One of them has Mark's name on it. He's left, but potentially can have Mark's name on it. Number 1, I went, these are my dreams. And Powder never would have happened without a dream. The Zipline never would have happened without a dream. My tennis center in Seattle with 5,000 members never would have happened without a dream. I was coaching high school tennis in the rain, and I said, well, we need some cover. And so a 15-year effort, we have now 1,000 kids working out every week in my tennis facility in Seattle, just because of a dream. But these are my dreams. May 1st rolls around, and we have the North American Guiding Conference and Job Fair. We have posters in every college in the country saying, you want to be a paragliding guide, a backcountry guide, a fishing guide, a hunting guide. I made a list, there's 30 of them. And I will tell you this, I'll guarantee this, that outside that door in 5 years, you will be able to walk in and with a guide guiding you, take a drone to the top of Pioneer Cabin. And that would be part of that whole thing. Guiding is what we do great. I talked to the fishing guide operators, and they said, I asked them one question. Do you have any problem with reliability, dependability with your guides? And the answer is, duh, they're doing what they love. Of course they show up. We could do a phenomenal job putting our stamp as the guiding center of the entire universe. In other words, go do. Number 2, and this is a really special one, but it's probably the fastest way to get to 400,000 and make this your event. But you've got to be a Bible-pounding prayer warrior to do this. Because there's money in religion, you know that. And that is the second week of May, the Southern Gospel Jubilee. Using all the churches in town for free, and a poster in every church from Tri-Cities East, Cheyenne West, Great Falls South, and St. George North, and basically charging to come here, and we wouldn't have a lot of drinkers, but we would have a huge crowd. But if that particular event has your name on it for the second week of May, do it. In June, I met with the National Ultimate Frisbee Federation in Colorado Springs last year. And they said, wow, it'd be really great to have a national championship in Sun Valley. We could bring our teams. It'd be really great. I've spent several years promoting the 3-on-3 in Spokane, and it's the largest basketball tournament in the world. And right now, if you try to get a reservation in a hotel for 50 miles within Spokane for next May, you can't get it. Sold out. So we could basically pattern that after an amazing Ultimate Frisbee championship for the nation here in this town in June. We're going from all the fields from Bellevue to Warm Springs Ranch. Fits our demographic. I've got another addition to that event that would be super. So with my discussion with Tim last week, I said, Tim, how was the summer? Was it a 10, July 1st to September 3rd? Was it a 10? Was it 11? Was it a 12? He said, no, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? I thought you guys were just doing a great summer. He said, no. August the 20th to August the 30th, the kids went all back to school and our business fell off like crazy. I said, oh, good, I'll go to work on that. For many, many years, I went to the Winthrop Blues Festival. It is the coolest, most successful blues festival you could ever imagine. So, if we could handle 500 Harleys all starting at once in Ketchum, that blues festival for the end of August with all the motorcyclists coming back from Sturgis would be just absolutely fabulous. Okay, this is my last one, and that's Rebecca's turn, okay? It's my last one. This is for the town, okay? It is so cool and so easy to do. A couple of people in this town need to get into their car and drive to Leavenworth the first weekend of December and watch what a Christmas lighting festival does for families and people. We've done it for several years, and I'll tell you what happens. It is all dark until 8 o'clock, and then Santa Claus pushes this gigantic button, and a billion lights come, and it's otherworldly magical. It is phenomenal. We know that the first 2 weeks of December are really, 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 really quiet here. And here's the kicker. We construct a line from the base of Baldy, and there's a line all the way to Picnic Point. And just like the ball dropping New Year's Eve for New York, this line, when Santa Claus on the top of Warfield pushes that button, that line basically illuminates all the way up, and a gigantic star is illuminated, making the conclusion of the Christmas Lighting Festival. I will guarantee you that 7,000 people come to that event, and it'll correct that particular weekend. Now, here's the deal. It's in our control. We can basically do tactical without getting over-inundated of people, because the bottom line is this. When everybody said that we like people, that's not too many people. Just the right amount. Thanks.